For every loved and adored celebrity, there is one who is hated for one or more reasons. Here are 10 of the most loved and most hated celebrities in Kenya. Starting off with Mondi, one of Kenya's biggest philanthropists and king of comedy. In mid-2024, a single mother was severely beaten by her neighbor for stealing wheat flour worth 150 Kenyan shillings to cook for her 3 children. Eric went on to rally up his supporters to help the mother, and in total, they raised over 3 million Kenyan shillings. With this, they bought her a piece of land, built her a fully furnished home, and started her a business to sustain her and her children. Eric's good desire to help wouldn't end here, however, as he would once again raise over 300,000 Kenyan shillings for a man who had been beaten up and chained in public over 100 Kenyan shillings debt. These are just 2 of the many times Eric has took initiative to help people who needed it. And according to a report, Eric has successfully managed to build at least 20 houses, raised over 200 million Kenyan shillings, started countless businesses for people, and fed thousands others in his philanthropic journey. In addition to just giving out money to people, Eric is also big on human rights and accountability from the government. In 2024, he was at the forefront of the anti-finance bill protests, fighting for accountability, justice, lower cost of living, and unemployment in the nation. He led several protests and encouraged Kenyans to show up and stand up for what they saw was right. He was arrested severally, but never did he lose hope of making his country a better nation. These selfless acts by Eric were received really well by the people. Someone even went ahead to call him father of the nation, while others said he would make a good leader than the ones in office. While Eric Omondi used his fame to push for a better Kenya, Kasmul Makoure saw the 2024 protests as an opportunity to advance his career and join the very government he once condemned. Kasmuel started off as the people's darling, a fearless voice against the government. However, his supposed fight for justice turned out to be as polished as his dressing. One random day, Kenyans woke up to see him smiling and shaking hands with the leader of the leading opposition party. The same man who once encouraged the youth to stand up for their rights and who had seen lives lost in the struggle was now asking them to give the government a chance to explain itself and to join the government to bring about the change from the inside. The backlash was swift and merciless. Many branded him unstable, selfish, and sellout to the Gen Z movement. And one time, when he tried to join the end femicide protests in the country, the Gen Z quickly shunned him away, telling him to never join in their protests again. His response: he dismissed his critics as tribalists and accused them of being naive about the country's future. This was the same person the youth had likened to Tom Mboya, a revered freedom fighter who had tragically lost his life for the cause. Yet here he was, shaking hands with the very people he had accused of abducting him. He discredited those who had once supported him, insisting that he had been great even before their backing. And to top it all off, he went online and called the same Kenyans who had fought for his release as short-minded and incapable of understanding his long game. This, to Kenyans, was considered as him showing his true colors, instead of keeping up a facade. While Kasmuel used his fame to better his career, this next celebrity used his fame to educate and sensitize on crucial matters in the country. In January 2017, Crazy Kenna started his YouTube channel, Tales of Crazy Kenna, where he created over 600 comedy videos and skits. with most of them revolving around the core issues in the government. These clips were more than just comedy skits to Kenyans. They were informative pieces explaining to the outer world what Kenya as a country was going through. In addition to that, Crazy Kenna is more than just a comedian. He's an ambitious young man, always aiming to improve his craft. He even relocated to South Africa to study writing in film, a move that he chose to better help him fulfill his dream of putting smiles on people's faces and educating masses through his comedy. He has grown from an actor to a director, scriptwriter, and editor. People love how he is always aiming to increase the scope of his content. And in 2023, he hosted one of the biggest comedy shows in the country, which was quickly filled by people from all corners, with collaborations with arguably some of the best celebrities in the country. The Content Cartel revealed he has big plans in his career. In 2024, he expressed how eager he is to one day win an Oscar award for his contribution to content creation. He has grown to be one of the most appreciated celebrities and content creators, not just in the country, but internationally. But as Kenna gained love for his glowing personality, Miss Njagi faced the harsh side of Kenyan fame due to the lack thereof. On September 2022, Miss Njagi recorded her own dance challenge on TikTok. However, what she did not know was that this was her one-way ticket to internet fame. But unlike the previous celebrities we mentioned, for Miss Njagi, she mostly received negative feedback from the internet. And if you asked anyone on why they disliked her, they simply had one answer: I don't know, I just dislike her. This was a classic Kenyan case of damu yangu imekataa, which basically means you don't have a valid reason for something, it just is the way it is. But for Miss Njagi, it was more than just mere dislike. After a few months of recording and posting over 300 videos and amassing almost 1 million followers, she woke up to her TikTok account being banned permanently. It was obviously a tough time for her, to say the least, but she opted to stride on. She would create another TikTok account, and in an attempt to avoid dealing with the hate comments, she turned off her comment section. However, this did not prevent what was coming, as her second TikTok account would once again be banned permanently with over 500,000 followers. This did not convince her enough to stop creating her content, as she would create another account and turn the comments back on. But unfortunately for her, the narrative had already been set. She was branded the villain, the one people just loved to hate. Kenyan fame does have its sweet spots, and Stevo Simpleboy, the self-proclaimed African dragon, has definitely tested them. In December 2017, he released a song titled Vijana Tuache Miadarati, which was supposed to advise the youth against drug abuse. He initially received immense hate and bullying from the internet due to his looks, but Stevo did not let this pull him down. As he expressed, he had gotten accustomed to the hate comments from early on.
Mi ati sinangu ni kama monkey. Inauma, but itabidi uzoee na jamii.
And by 2025, Stevo had released quite a number of popular songs, became a meme dozens of times, and became one of the best pastime comedians in the country. The guy had a funny bone, even when he wasn't trying to be funny. And to top it all up, he had a questionable but endurable fashion sense. He was one of the few artists who felt completely genuine, never chasing clout. And then there is Elsa Majimbo. From labeling Kenyans as colorists to claiming they are one of the worst dressed people in the continent, Elsa has managed to slowly increase the numbers of people who dislike what she has to say on the country and her content in general.
Elsa Majimbo. Said that with my chest. Udem passport yake inafaa kuchukuliwa. Kama anataka kukuwa Muamerika habaki huko. Kama anataka kuwa Nigeria habaki huko. What does she mean that Kenyans are the worst dressed in Africa?
In several occasions, she has intentionally said and done things to make her the center of attention in inconceivable circumstances. For reference, she tweeted about how some people had mentioned she was in the Epstein list, which disgusted a lot of Kenyans as she was talking about a serious issue and trying to make it about herself. The backlash from the post was massive. Her insensitive and unapologetic nature saw her clash even more with Kenyans in June 2024. A time when Kenyans needed each other, she was accused of attention farming instead of focusing more on important matters. Instead of sensitizing about the terrible time her mother country was facing, she went online to rant about black tax and how she would never send money to her family back home. She only came out to talk about the anti-finance bill after pressure had surmounted from her close circle. This made Kenyans take to the internet to confront her about it.
Elsa Majimbo, I'm your big fan, but please, this time this is not about you. This is about the finance bill. Stop making everything about you. We are in Kenya, and right now we are focusing on the finance bill, and you're trying to shift all this wave to us starting to discuss about you. Please, girl, tafadhali, focus. Jipake mafuta pole pole, wachana na sisi. If you cannot defend this country on the finance bill, then focus on your oils. Focus on your oils, Elsa Majimbo. You're becoming stupid.
While it is evident that money changed Elsa, Tile Pakbro only became more wholesome after his rise to fame. The founder of Dance 98 Academy, one of East Africa's biggest dance schools, has been an exceptional dancer and teacher. Creative enough to make exhilarating moves from any beat. People have grown to love him and his choreographies. So much so that even Justin Bieber and Cardi B acknowledged him on their Instagram accounts in 2020 on the outstanding performance he gave. People love how humble he is. Despite being the leader of the academy, he always gave the spotlight to other people to teach and to lead. This love grew even more when people saw what a good father he had become. He was a family man, always ensuring he was making his son happy, even after he had broken up with his ex-girlfriend. They had a good co-parenting relationship, and this could be seen from an interaction they had after their breakup. People rallied behind them, congratulating him for his maturity and dexterity in dealing with the situation, especially revolving around the child they had together. Not only that, people could not get enough of his comebacks to his haters. He always made sure people knew their lanes every time. Fame can get to a person's head, and for Eve Mongai, it took a one-way train to hers. A girl who had started off as a promising journalist.
Let's hear from them. Let's start with the one in Let's start with
was now being accused of being unprofessional and being a narcissist. In January 2025, Eve had an interview with Lydia, but she used this as an opportunity to talk entirely about herself, to the point that, and you literally can't make this up, the interviewee had to remind her, after almost half an hour, to actually start the interview instead of obsessing over her ex-lover. Fans were baffled, left wondering whether she was the interviewer or the interviewee. And as if that wasn't bad enough, when Lydia bravely opened up about being sexually assaulted by her uncle in her early years,
So he me. I was in class 7.
Mongai hijacked the moment to proudly brag.
So what I was saying is, Nilikuwa wapi umenikat? Come on, I have a whole stylist that I pay a lot of money per month. You find me in a club, I'll be dressed like I'm in a club. If you find me in beach, like I wear accordingly. And also, I cannot hide the body. I cannot hide you guys from seeing I have a slim waist.
This insensitivity angered viewers, who told her to quit being a journalist, labeling her as unprofessional and tone deaf. This wasn't the only time she said or did something outrageous. In another interview, she bluntly confirmed that she advocated for cheating in a relationship, proudly telling her viewers how she always has a backup partner in case one of them fails. This was the same woman who had openly celebrated her ex-lover getting into a car crash that left his vehicle written off.
So, it belonged to him, but we are using it as a family.
Yes.
But thank God,
Yes.
by the time of the breakup, it was written off.
To Eve, all publicity was good publicity. And at the end of the day, she didn't care what people said about her, as long as they kept talking about her. Unlike Eve, who was hung up on her ex-lover a whole year after the breakup, Flaco preferred to keep his personal life private. He only came out of his cocoon when he was recording his comedy skits. Flaco has become an internet sensation with his skits, and people love all the characters he plays, especially one by the name Bakari, who is quite the charm if you get to know him. Fans loved the character so much that they wished he was an actual person who they could interact with whenever and wherever they could. With his Saturday dosage skits and up-close comedy videos on his social media platforms, Flaco has become a common household name, and everyone, ranging from children to their parents, could only sit down together and enjoy this talented young man's efforts. Flaco is now among the top comedians in the country and has amassed a total audience of almost 4 million followers combined. People have loved Flaco due to not only his good sense of humor, but also due to his good looks and his desire to help people in need through his Otis for the Kids Foundation, an initiative dedicated to supporting underprivileged children by providing essentials like food, education, and other assistance to improve their well-being. And finally, there is Andrew Kibe, one of the most controversial celebrities in the country. Once a pastor turned to a self-proclaimed relationship guru, Kibe has become anything but the voice of reason he claims to be.
Death toll has reached what? Is 80? 49? Do not cry for anyone. I see people on the internet saying, oh, it's sad. What do you mean it's sad? Sad? You didn't know anybody who died there. What is wrong with you people? Oh, it's sad. It's not sad. It's interesting. It's super interesting. It's not sad. I'm not sad people died. Death toll has...
Kibe has been accused of being a narcissist who thrives on attacking celebrities to stay relevant. With his relentless degrading remarks,
puny lambistic afadhali ujinyonge. You grow the up.
And unsolicited advice,
your second name as a woman was never supposed to matter. Your first was important so that you can be called.
Kibe has clashed with almost every artist in the country, breaking the record of creating enemies with Kenyans. He has become the face of male chauvinism on the internet, pushing the narrative that men are superior to women in all aspects. He frequently berates men who show any sign of emotional expression, labeling them as simps and other derogatory terms. Kibe's opposition to feminism is also no secret. He has openly expressed that feminism has made men weak and given women too much power. His stance has led people to call him sexist and outdated. In February 2025, Kibe faced massive backlash after making inappropriate remarks about a young girl he was featured with in an advertisement. When criticized on the matter, he shamelessly responded that Even if the girl was 19 years, as long as she had told him she was 32 years, he wouldn't care if it was true or not. He would still pursue her. This statement ignited public outrage, with many calling him a thirsty, shameless old man who should never have been given a platform in the first place. For this story, it is just sad to see him fail in trying to emulate and rotate. Who does the same thing as him, more or less? And this story just goes to show that carefully picking the people you want to emulate can make all the difference.